PK, you're kind of at a different point in your career where you're hitting a UFA off season. What is that like for you right now?
Well, it's the first time in my career, so definitely mixed emotions. It's exciting. Probably the biggest eye opener is that 8 years has flown by already. So, but obviously it's something that I knew was coming going into this year. So we'll see what happens. Should be a fun summer.
Now, I should say that you were obviously sick towards the end of the year, which is why your voice is...
My voice is still gone, I
know. I just wanted to preface that. Yeah. But you've spent now a few years here. You seem to really have adapted to the teammates that you have. Really, can you talk to me about what your experience has been like in New Jersey and what it's done for you, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think at this stage in my career, for sure, I'm used to usually feeling like the young guy in the room or one of the younger guys, and it just feels like in a snap of a finger I'm, now one of the eldest guys, if not the oldest guy on the team. So, but it's been exciting. I was telling Lindy that this is the most fun that I've had in a long time playing with these guys and with this team. So, it's different when you're in that situation and you come to the rink and you feed off of all the young guys' energy, but you also realize that there's more purpose to everything that you do. Guys follow you, they watch everything that you do, they look to you for advice, they look to you for guidance, and that's been a lot of fun for me, for sure. It's a different level of happiness when you see guys grow and develop, and you're a part of that. So that's definitely been fun.
What do you sort of foresee your summer kind of looking like? And would there be interest on your behalf if the contract was there for you to stay in New Jersey? Is that something that would interest you?
Well, my teammates haven't been shy on letting me know that they'd love for me to be here, and I love being here. Yeah. It's been great. Obviously, in this stage in my career, I want to be a part of a competitive culture, and I think that's what we're building here. And that's always definitely something that I'm going to look at and that I understand heading into an off season like this. But it makes it difficult, and it should be a difficult decision. Should be difficult knowing that you may not be here, and that's a hard thing to think about, when you have such great teammates and guys that you've grown with. So love these guys, love playing here, love being a part of this organization, and if it continues, I'd be just as happy.
Speaking to the future of this team, that you've had now time to grow with a lot of these young players and see them in their development path, what would you say the trajectory is for this team right now and what you're experiencing from the inside about what's happening?
I think that with our team, it's one day at a time, but I think it's also now a reflection of it's been a couple years and we haven't played in the postseason. And, I don't think there's one guy in the room that likes where we're at right now, but we're also taking a lot of positives from this year because there were a lot, especially when you look at the growth of our team and the young guys, and that's what we're taking into it. But, we're a young team, but we're not that young. In this league, it changes quickly. And, for a few years, you're at the bottom of the league and you're wondering how you get to the top. And now all of a sudden, guys that were in their first or second year are in their third and their fourth, and you add in a couple pieces and all of a sudden you're, inside the playoff picture or just on the outside. And I think that's where this team wants to be, not in 2 or 3 years, but next year. I think that's realistic. That's the plan.
Thank you, PK. Pete's going to do the Zoom.
Question to Mike Morial, NHL.com.
Hey, PK, thanks for cutting this out and feel better soon.
Hey, thank you.
Yep. PK, do you still believe you have enough in the tank to play in this league? And what do you feel you can contribute to any organization?
Well, my tank's never empty. It's just the way I am and the way I feel. I mean, this year I'm pretty happy to know that I was able to stay on the ice and didn't have any games due to injury that I've missed, knock on wood. And, that's kind of been the story of my career. I've always kind of been on the ice. I think in Nashville, with some of that travel and a heavier schedule in the Central Division, that took me out of the lineup for a few games, a couple of those years. But other than that, playing in the East has been great. It's not as hard with the travel. Spend more nights in your bed, and I think a lot of that helped me coming to New Jersey. So as far as my tank goes, I'm excited to get another summer, long summer of training in, to get that rest and recovery that you need when you get to 33 and you played over 800 games. So I'm excited for that. But as far as playing the game, I mean, there's still a lot of hockey that I have to play before I can think about stepping away from this game. And, the negatives about having a long off season is that you're not competing for a cup, but the positives are you get to do a lot of things with that time, both that help you get prepared for next season, but also just, to enjoy your life. It's been a couple of years with the pandemic and a lot of restrictions, not being able to travel and see family and friends. So I look forward to kind of recharging the batteries this off season and getting ready for another great year.
Okay, how does a team that is snake-bitten injury-wise change that narrative?
Pardon me, I didn't hear you. Sorry, what was that?
How does a team such as the Devils that seems to be snake-bitten injury-wise the past few seasons kind of change that narrative?
Well, listen, if you ask any team in the league, I'm sure every team would say they felt snake-bitten at some point, throughout a hockey season with injuries. It's going to happen. That's the game. We play a contact sport. And, sometimes it's going to happen at the worst time. When you want it to happen, you lose key guys. That's what makes being on a championship team so special is you go through that adversity. And, for our team, we got to get used to that. We got to get used to having guys be in and out of the lineup and not having our full roster all the time. It's just the way the world is, the way the league works, the way sports is. And when that happens, we need to see more development and growth out of our players that have to elevate their games and step up. I think we had that at times. You look at our last long road trip going out to Vegas and Arizona where we're missing key guys. I remember going on that trip. I heard a couple people say in the media that we're basically going with an AHL team, with the amount of guys that we had to call up. But the results spoke differently in terms of how we played and how we competed. And guys chose not to look at the excuses of missing guys like Jack and Blackie and Siegs and some key players in our lineup. But we elevated our game. And I think that's what we need to take in every season is next man up type of mentality. If we don't have the guys in the lineup that are there regularly, it's an opportunity for guys to step up. So there's no excuses for us.
At what point for any organization, PK, does that saying, we're rebuilding and learning get a little bit old? And I guess as players, you can kind of understand the frustration of the fans in that sense as well.
Yeah, and I think, listen, I look at a lot of teams in this league that weren't always great. You look at the Chicago Blackhawks before they won, 3 cups? They were at the bottom of the league for a while, and it took some time. You look at Edmonton Oilers that's just starting to kind of put things together as a consistent team. They went through years and years of first overall picks and some tough times, and you can see that it's now starting to pay off. So, the fans, they have a right to be restless and impatient, but, when things turn, they're the people that are going to benefit from seeing a winning product on the ice, and that's not the easiest thing to build in hockey. It's 22 guys. You got to draft well. You got to get free agents, and you need some luck. And I think that for us, we're going to need a little bit of luck, but we all need to look at ourselves in the mirror to really push that boulder up the mountain. That's the way it feels at times, and you have to stay the course.
And one more, PK. Quickly, you don't have to go in depth, but I'm just curious, can you kind of handicap the playoffs? Is this going to be as close a race as we've seen?
I think so. I think it's going to be an exciting playoff. I mean, if you're looking at any of the teams, one of the teams that maybe no one's really talking about as much is Tampa Bay. I mean, there's a lot of good teams out there that have had good seasons, but they're still a championship team, and in my opinion, still the team to beat. So it'll be an interesting playoff to watch, but there's a lot of good teams, a ton of parity, and goaltending always seems to be a huge thing in the playoffs. So we'll see. I look forward to watching, though.
Thanks, PK. Thanks for your thoughts all season, too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Next question go to Robert Aiken, North Jersey.
Mike kind of touched on it a minute ago, but just the frustration that fans have kind of had over the last couple of years. And a player in a situation where you were almost a scapegoat for people that were critical. Was that hard for you?
Sorry, can you repeat that? It was just we were losing you on the Zoom a little bit there.
Just being, the highest paid player and being a veteran player for this team, when people were being critical of the development of this team, it kind of painted you as like a scapegoat on this team. Was that difficult for you as a veteran?
No, because I feel like people always talk about my game even before I was making $9 million a year. I started playing in this league in an organization and in a city that is a hotbed for hockey. And, I felt that ever since I put on a jersey in this league that I've been under a microscope. And I think I've handled it pretty well. So, I don't ever take myself too seriously. But what I trust in is the work and the attention to the detail that I put into my craft every day. And, when I look at my job and what I've accomplished over my career, I'm pretty proud of how I went about doing that. So, would I like to have a Stanley Cup? Sure. Would I like to have maybe performed better at times? For sure. But, not everything is in my control. I only control what I do. And I think the most important thing that I look at is being a good teammate first, always being there for my teammates and playing for the jersey. I've always done that and played for the team and left everything on the ice. So my mentality has always been when I step on the ice is that there's somebody sitting in the stands or watching on TV that's maybe never seen me play, and I always want to leave the best impression on them. That's always been my approach. Sometimes the results may not be always what people want to see or what people think are at my standard, but I get up the next day and I go to work and I try to be better. And I'm going to do the same thing this summer. But no, I never felt that. I think fans are entitled to have their opinion, and I think that pressure is what's made me the player that I am, that what gets me up in the morning. And you want people to care about what you do. You want them to care about your success and how you do your job. So I never want that to continue. If that stops continuing, then I don't think I have a job anymore. So I'm always fine with that pressure. And hopefully that takes pressure off some of the other players and gives them more room to grow and to get better. I can handle that.
PK, you spoke about how much fun it's been being in New Jersey. I know a big part of your impact on a city is what you give back off the ice. What has it meant for you to be able to do things like that over the course of the last couple of years in Newark, where hockey is not necessarily a priority for a lot of people in this city.
Yeah, it means a lot. I think what means more is obviously it's something I've done throughout my career, but what means more to me is the support of the organization and the people that you work for every day. To have the support of, starting from the ownership with David Blitzer and Josh Harris and the whole ownership group, down to our GM, Fitzy, and coaching staff, and the players, more importantly. They've all been very supportive of everything that I've done. So that's what means the most to me, because we're a family, and we want to support each other the way that we need to be supported. It's just a game at the end of the day. There's a lot of other things to consider because of the platform we play on. There's a lot of responsibility, and I think for the organization to respect the responsibility that I have to do more and do things away from the rink is definitely something that I've appreciated immensely. We're losing you.
Society. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
My last question. You've used your platform to speak a lot about equality, not just in hockey, but also in society as well. To kind of look at the sport right now, look at the league, and see more black players than ever before. What pride do you take in that? Even just think that maybe you have an impact on that kind of evolution of the sport.
Yeah, well, I'm just one voice in the game, and I think maybe my voice carries a little bit more weight than others, but it's still just one voice. And I think, my job and responsibility is to try to influence people just to do the right things. And I think that's to create an environment where everybody feels equal. It should be a workspace where everybody can feel comfortable to go to work and do the best of their ability to try to accomplish as much as they can, regardless of where they're from or what they look like or what they believe in. So I'm all for that. I think when it comes to the game and the growth of the game, it's something that's important to me because the game's given me so much. So, I don't think much about doing the things that I do because I feel it's the right thing to do. And I'm just happy to know that people support that, and hopefully that pulls other people to, move in the same direction to have that positive impact on our game.
Thank you. Please feel better.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Our last question go to Neil McHale and said hi.
Hi, PK. I just have two, and then I'll let you rest your voice.
Yeah.
You spent time in Montreal, you spent time in Nashville, and in that stretch you were able to play against Lindy Ruff coach team. What's it been like the last 2 years playing for Lindy, and what have you felt with him, and how much of that do you think warrants him to stick around with this group moving forward?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Lindy. As a person, he's a quality person. He's a quality individual. And, when you play pro sports, you can have good coaches. You can have maybe not so great coaches. But at the end of the day, when your career's over or you've moved on, you remember the type of person that they were, and he's a great individual and a great man. Love playing for him, love competing for him. And I know that for someone who's been coaching for as long as he has, to see him be able to get these guys, these young guys in a different generation to play for him and play hard, he's definitely had a positive impact on this group, and he's had a positive impact on me too. When I first played for Lindy, I guess you could say would have been at the Olympics. I spent time with him, and really my first encounter with him was he was bag skating me pretty much every day while I was there, and I still liked him even when he was bag skating me. So, that was the first time I had an encounter with him, and I was excited when I knew that he was going to be the coach here. So, listen, I'm sure for Lindy at times it's been frustrating because I know he loves to win and he wants to win, and he hates losing. So, it's been fun to go to war and block shots and play hard for a guy like that.
And then just my last one here, obviously you mentioned, you plan on, the tank's still there, you want to keep playing, but in, the last year or so, you've kind of seen, contracts skyrocket for people that want to do TV. I know that's something that you've tried before. Have you watched that and said, oh, this could be a interesting thing for me down the road in terms of getting TV and the new ways that people are trying to present things with former athletes?
Yeah, I'm in a similar position to like my brother, Malcolm, because I'm sure now he's getting all kinds of singing contracts thrown at him and all this stuff. So I don't know if he wants to start up a band or something like that. Maybe be the lead singer. I'll come in and do the drums or something. But he's a hockey player and he loves to play hockey. He just happens to have other talents. So, for me, I'm not saying that I have the talent to be able to work on TV, but it's definitely been something that has been fun because I'm passionate about the game. I'm passionate to be involved in the game, and it's a way for me to do that when I'm not playing. So, if I have the time to do it and it works in my schedule and in my life, I'll definitely participate in that. As far as whether I do it as a career or a job, I'll make that decision when my playing days are over. I'm still have a lot of hockey to play, and I'm very passionate about playing, and I want to play. So, that's my number one priority. But it's definitely flattering for people to think that could be something that I do.
Thanks so much, PK. Congrats to your brother on doing that the other night. That was really cool.
Thank you. I'll let him know.
Thank you, Subie.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Subi.
Yeah.
Have a good summer.
Thanks.